I wasn't old enough to vote. In July, there was a dock strike and the temporary shortages of fresh food. The Minister of Agriculture appeared on the news and said, "What housewives should do this week is shop around, buy those things which are cheaper." When my mother heard this, she took off her slipper and threw it at the television set. It sailed over the top and landed at the back among the tangled flexes and cables. "What does he think folk generally do?" she asked. "Go down to the market and say, 'What's dear today? Give me £2, will you, and a slice of your best caviar on top.' Oh, no, that's not dear enough. Please, keep the change." My father creaked out of his chair and went to pick her slipper up. He handed it back. "Prince Charming," he said, identifying himself. My mother snorted and forced her veiny foot back into the felt. As soon as my exam results came through, I started packing. I didn't have many clothes, and those I did lacked the fashionable fringes and mosaic patterns. The papers said that purple would be the dominant shade of the autumn. I was old enough to remember when it had been fashionable last time, how jaundiced it made women look, and how embarrassing it was for them when the craze fizzled out and they had its relics crowding their wardrobes. The colour's just a rag trade manipulation, because apart from prelates, nobody would naturally choose it. Women have been caught too often. That's why we don't have purple now. Except, of course, purple prose. Quick, before I forget it, the dazzle of the lights on the white tiles, the dismal moans and clatters from the darkness, less like trains than the calls of departing ships, the voice of the announcer over the tannoy. I took out of my pocket a map, folded to the right square, and looked at it as I had done many times on the journey. My heart lurched a little, and small fires of apprehension ran behind my ribs, little flames leaping along the bones. I was a child, and I had been nowhere until now. I picked up my suitcase, which was dragging my arm out of its socket, and began to lurch forward with it through the early evening. Crisp leaves were falling already in the London squares. When I arrived at the Hall of Residence, a woman, the warden herself, took me upstairs in a lift. She had a bunch of keys. "If you had left that," she meant my suitcase, "there," she said with a mysterious, impatient gesture, "then the porter would have brought it up for you." As things were, she had to keep her finger on the open button while I manoeuvred it out of the lift. I had to trail along behind her, dragging the suitcase like a deformed limb. My room was to be on the 3rd floor, known as sea floor. The woman led me along a wide corridor, parquet squeaking under her feet. She stopped by a door marked C3, rattled her bunch of keys, and admitted us. Inside the door, she consulted her list. Mac, she said. "Miss McBain." There, pinned to her sheet before she flicked it over, I caught a glimpse of a photograph, the black and white photograph that the hall had requested. My mother had taken it in our backyard. I leant against red brick, like a person waiting for a firing squad. Perhaps my mother had never used a camera before. It had been a clear day, but in the photograph, my features were wreathed in mist. My expression was shocked. "So," the woman said, "you were at day school in, Lancashire?" That was true. I was listed somewhere, tabulated, in the heart of this great dark building. At a turn in the corridor, I had smelt soup. Lights blossomed out in another building across the street. The woman flicked over her lists again. "And there are 2 of your schoolmates coming along, is that correct? Miss Julianne Lipcott and—" She squinted at the paper, turning it slightly from the light, as if that would remove some of the CZs and the DJs that rustled and shuffled in proximity, in a surname that I had known since I was 4, and which was therefore no stranger to me than Smith or Jones. Less, really. I pronounced it for her and said helpfully, "We call her Karina." "Yes, I see. But